paramedic. I worked on an ambulance, and that's pretty much it. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Before, after surgery, the surgery process, anything. So fire away.
Now, come on, guys, don't be shy. We only get them like once a year.
So on a lot of the online forums that are out there, I hear kind of controversial things about stretching the sleeve. And some people say it's easy to do, some people say it's impossible. What are your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't say impossible. The body is marvelous at adapting to whatever you adapt it to do. And so if you force it hard enough to stretch, it will stretch. However, I can't say that I see that or I've ever seen it, or ever heard of Dr. Hamilton or Owen talking about it.
Wouldn't it be, like I've heard that it would be painful if you're stretching, if you're overeating, that you would feel pain if you were at risk of stretching?
Now, you're going to feel pain during the episode of overeating because it's going to fill up too fast, and then you're going to get a feeling of overfilled and either vomit or have a lot of discomfort until it passes through the sleeve. But it wouldn't hurt like over time because it would just stretch real slowly, and you're not going to feel the actual stretch. The stomach itself, you don't really feel. It doesn't have any nerves to it. The actual stomach organ itself. So you're not going to feel that doing anything. So, but I've seen some stretching more often with the lap band of the esophagus. We see that common if people, and I don't know if anybody in here is looking at lap band, but if you overeat, the esophagus will kind of form a stomach, and it'll get like that wide. And it's really only supposed to be like that wide, and it kind of acts as a stomach. And your esophagus can do that with a sleeve as well. You can kind of fill up your esophagus. So, but the body it will adapt to anything you let it adapt to.
Dustin, if it does fill up the esophagus, does it stretch out that sphincter and make reflux much worse?
It will make reflux worse. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll notice reflux with it too.
And so probably ways to prevent that would be to focus on the smaller bites.
Uh-huh.
And eating
Yeah.
slowly.
Yeah. Laura's great about working with your diet as far as amounts and what's a good diet regimen, and really listening to your body. The key is small bites, chew thoroughly, and eat slowly. If you do those things, then your body will tell you when you're satisfied. If you eat too fast, you eat past your point of satisfaction, and then you're full, and then you're like 3 bites too much or 4 bites too much, and then it's uncomfortable, and that's when you're at risk of stretching stuff or not losing. Most common is you're not going to lose what you should. So, and that you just have to slow way down, and it takes a long time after surgery to get used to that. And that's what we got Laura for, and Tim and I. Tim's Dr. Owen's PA, and we kind of coach you through that. So, yeah.
What about the rheumatoid? Does it stretch too much? Too bad?
They all can.
Okay, that's all.
They all can stretch, and that's something that you have to kind of force it to do. Really by overeating and making it do more than it should.
Does it
capacity
shrink?
wise. What's
Does
that?
it shrink back down? I mean, if you correct your behavior, will it shrink back down?
Yes, it will. I don't know that. I mean, that'd be another question for Dr. Hamilton. I mean, because we can revise if it's stretched, we can make it small again. That's another surgery to go through. But if you forced it to stretch, then it becomes floppy. It's like a muscle that you'd stretch out. So I would imagine once you make it that, then it's going to stay that way.
But your whole stomach, when you go through paleo dieting all your life, if you go through a period of eating too much, so you stretched it out, and then you behave yourself, really actively behave yourself, you do feel satisfied, then. So it would make sense it's the same tissue that it would do the same thing.
Yep.
At least that's my goal, because if I ever stretch mine out, I really shrink it back.
Yeah, the stomach's just a big muscle, and it's really pretty small until you eat and cause it to accept a ton of food. So. Go ahead.
If your blood sugar is high, will that affect surgery or recovery?
Yeah, high blood sugar does decrease your healing. And out of control diabetes does decrease your healing. It doesn't affect how well we can do the surgery, but it affects the healing. However, and depending upon whether you're doing gastric bypass or sleeve, or sleeve, okay, diabetes is corrected or made better fairly quickly after surgery. I'd say if you're on insulin when you come in, your dose is dramatically decreased when you leave the next day after surgery. It's kind of amazing. A little bit more so with the bypass than the sleeve, and in the fastness or the quickness that the diabetes is corrected. Yeah, if you're on oral blood glucose, I mean metformin, glucoside, all those things, you'll be off of those the next day and probably never back on.
Really?
Correct.
Question?
Because the amount that you're eating is way less, and so your caloric intake is way less, and just the change, it's amazing. I've learned that, and I've been like surprised, the second week.
My A1C dropped to 5.7.
Yeah, from what?
I was started around 7.
Yeah, we see A1Cs way worse than that. 10, 12, I mean, stuff like that. So yeah.
I was kind of the exception to that rule. I was off the metformin and only one injection of insulin after surgery. Unfortunately, my A1C went from 9.4 to 10.4. So kind of did the opposite.
Yeah.
So I'm back on metformin for right now, and I'm still doing the one injection a day. My question is this: after everything is said and done, is it possible that the pancreas doesn't do what it's supposed to do, and then you end
What's
up
your
having,
surgery history?
I just had Roux-en-Y on December 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's beyond me.
Is it?
I don't know that as far as the pancreas and stuff like that. Yeah.
So
I'm kind of surprised by that.
I was gonna say I'm taking it that that would definitely not be the norm then.
That is not the norm.
Yeah.
Correct. It's way the opposite. It goes from 8 to 5 or 10 to, yeah. Maybe you know, Chris. Go ahead.
Dustin, actually, it depends on how long you have been diabetic, as to how quickly that's gonna resolve. If you've been on insulin for a very long period of time, it's gonna take longer for you to be able to decrease your medication.
Good.
But the latest research actually shows that it also improves type 1 diabetes, which was a real shock to me.
Which is a shock, yeah.
But yeah, you'll find that the longer you've been diabetic, the longer it takes to fix that.
There we go. Sleeve. And how long ago?
April 17th,
Okay.
so about 10 months.
Okay, 10 months. Okay. And when do you notice it? All the time, or?
Anytime I take a drink or swallow, eat something, swallow water, anything.
Anything. And you don't take dry swallows? It's not hard for you to get food down or painful to get anything down?
If I just eat a little bit, if I go over that.
Then you
certain
have
amount,
pain, yeah.
It hurts. I feel the discomfort of it. But I still, even if I just take one swallow of water sometimes, I burp.
Use a straw, or do you drink just regular?
Both.
Somehow you're taking in air when you swallow. And that's what I'm thinking is causing your burps and hiccups.
Okay,
I noticed that
Yeah.
sometimes when, like early on,
Uh-huh.
when I would go to drink out of the glass, you open your mouth to take the drink, you have air in your mouth.
Yeah.
And if you take the sip and then force everything into your mouth down, you just swallow the mouth.
Correct. Taking a drink,
Trying to revise how
yeah.
it was.
Thank you. Watching a drink, and people open their mouth and and then take just a small amount, but they're used to, before surgery, taking big gulps, and you can't do that. And so that's what I think she's saying
I
about the,
drink out of, a
Mhm.
milk cup with a small hole. and
Yeah.
So
you're just putting your lips real small and you just swallow what you drink.
Yeah.
So you just gotta pay attention to it and see what you're doing. Yeah. Sip, sip, sip. Yeah, that's what we say after surgery. Sip, sip, sip.
We'll sip for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Something that I've noticed is sometimes even after I've eaten, my stomach still gurgles. It sounds like a sewer going. Must be normal, everybody's,
Nobody's
it's
saying a word.
okay. I mean, you
Are
feel
you
like
answering?
people are looking at you.
It happened to me, I work with children at a school, and I was talking, and I got the talking birds. And the little boy sits there real quiet and looks at me, and then finally he goes, Miss Scoble, even if you burp, you're still a fine example for children. That's hilarious.
Melt your
No, it wasn't your kid.
So I'm taking it's normal, does that ever stop? I mean, or why?
You know, people don't tell me stuff. People
We're
don't.
3 months out, or 3 years out almost, and it still does.
Still does.
Pouchy is grouchy.
Same surgery. What? Roux-en-Y. Same
I
Roux-en-Y.
had to sleep.
Sleep. Okay.
I'm a year post-op
Too
sleep.
much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the elevator going, oh, sorry, that's just my.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I won't worry about it.
And I had
And I can't explain Chris, do you have anything? I don't know the reason why behind it.
No, if it doesn't hurt, I wouldn't worry about it.
I think
People
I'm
don't
just
bring that
sign
stuff
says
up.
excuse
So I
me.
don't. Oh, I'm just hungry.
Yeah.
Kind of-
Well, and
Yeah,
everybody
it's
says, well,
like,
maybe
oh, it's
you
over
need
here
to eat.
now.
I'm like, just.
I just ate.
You get more when you've just eaten, like maybe like half an hour to an hour after I've eaten. Because I think for normal people, you know, it goes through their stomach and you don't hear it because there's so much stomach. I don't know, I'm not
Yes.
either. I'm just assuming. And it's a small, well, there's not
That
as
makes
much
sense.
stuff and it's going, "Meow, what'd you do all this
Yeah.
stuff?"
to develop a
That's my
catchphrase
scientific
that
way.
starts with that sound, so you can just.
You have one available.
Oh, I wish I were. Just have somebody here.
Perfect. And I think it could be just, I mean, when we change the stomach size in the sleeve, for instance, or for example, the propulsion of the stomach is different because, like you said, you don't have a big stomach to kind of move the food along. It's just a small tube, and so maybe you hear it squeezing more. That's the only thing I
And
can
it's
think.
loud, I mean, it's louder than when
Yeah.
when I was
Yeah.
getting up before I had the surgery.
Yeah. Which, what I was saying, I mean, you don't hear it because you have a bigger stomach where the food just kind of sits in there for a while.
That might be something you wanna tell people, because my husband's been telling me, you better not eat enough. You
Yeah.
You better eat.
He said, you're still hungry, go get something to eat. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not hungry, but you need to tell people to expect that, might be a good idea.
And it happens with Roux-en-Y also.
Totally.
Well,
So just
add that to our
wasn't-
pre-op education. You're gonna grumble. You're gonna grumble. So, yeah.
I'm 6 weeks post-sleep, and
Yep.
my question is, how long do people usually take the Prilosec? Is it your whole life? Is it a 2-month appointment, you try and take them off?
Mhm.
What's the course for that?
Kind of depends on whether or not you took it before surgery and whether or
Did
not. Okay. So normally I just have people on it for about a month or two. I normally put 2 refills on the script when I discharge it. So I normally have people on it until you see me at your 2-month visit. And if you didn't have it before, you're probably not going to have it after. And if you did have it before and you had a sleeve, you might have it after. If you had a bypass and you had it before, you're probably not going to have it. Bypass is and Dr. Hamilton says this all the time, so I hear him and kind of quoting him as a Roux-en-Y gastric bypass is about the best operation you can have for acid reflux.
Okay.
So it's better than a Nissen or any of those other things. So to have it after it needs to be brought to mine or Tim's attention to have acid reflux after surgery, because it could be something like an ulcer forming or something that we need to treat or look at with an EGD or something. So yeah, to answer your question, come off of it after your 2-month visit, unless you're going to be on ibuprofen or NSAID medication. And with the sleeve, I know in our booklet we say no NSAIDs or no ibuprofen or anything like that. I mean, bring it to my and Tim's attention so we can make sure that you're taken care of or being on medicine like a proton pump inhibitor or Prilosec. But ibuprofen is not to stay away from completely. It's more worrisome with a bypass than it is with a sleeve. So just ask us first if that's something you took before and you have muscle aches and pains. It's not one of those never take it or you're gonna regret it. Just ask us. We'll probably tell you you can take it.
I have run into I had Roux-en-Y and
How many years ago?
in just May
Oh,
last year.
May last year. Okay.
And know we can only have like Tylenol. And so, except when I'm sick or have a cold or I have whatever, then I'm, you know, going through the medicine cabinet and okay, I've got Sudafed and I've got, you know, all of these other different brands of Dayquil, NyQuil, you name it, is in there. And I just usually resort to, I just don't take anything because I don't know what, you know, without being able, you know, I know we're not supposed to take NSAIDs.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know enough about NSAIDs to know if, okay, this particular medication has an NSAID in it. And so I just usually opt to not take anything, which isn't necessarily good either because then you're miserable.
Yeah. And that's a question for Tim and I. So we're not annoyed if you page us or you call us and we call you back and you ask us a question like that.
Really?
Tim is Dr. Huff's PA.
I take
Now, I
Mucinex.
prefer to have it on a weekday and not 3 in the morning or something. If you wake me up at 3 and ask me if you take Sudafed, I'll say,
Yes,
sure. But yeah. But if you ask us, I mean, that's what we're here for. So we answer questions like that. Yeah, don't ask the pharmacy. They don't even know what a Roux-en-Y gastric bypass is. We love pharmacists, we deal with them all the time, but they don't know what it is. I mean, I didn't know what it was before I, came into medicine, so.
I had talked to Tim and I take Mucinex.
Fine.
And it works if you have.
That's just a mucus thinner.
Okay.
Sudafed's fine.
There's 3 different kinds.
Okay.
I don't care about Sudafed or NyQuil or Dayquil or anything like that. It doesn't have anything that's an anti-inflammatory.
Maybe 2 names.
Something I did have self-supply.
I don't have any trouble.
It was kind of carbonated.
No, I'm not.
That didn't
That
sound
didn't
real
work?
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like drinking a Coke.
Yeah. I didn't-
That's gonna bubble.
That's what
Yeah.
I did.
She has a question.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Well,
Sorry.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
What about like Mucinex?
Fine. Sprays?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. That's a topical steroid spray, and I know we say stay away from prednisone and any of those.
See, I didn't know that we couldn't take like ibuprofen. I didn't know that.
That's okay.
I don't know if I have.
It's in your pre-packet or whatever. It says NSAID medicine, and a lot of people don't know what that means, but non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. So ibuprofen, Aleve, Advil, and then stuff like prednisone. Those are steroids. I need to know about those, or I prefer to know so that I make sure you're taking a Prilosec or omeprazole.
I have another question. That wasn't actually my question.
Okay.
I just thought about it. But I had my gastric sleeve in December 23rd.
Okay.
What's like the average weight loss? I mean,
How much, or?
Yeah, how much? I actually haven't even weighed myself.
That's good, actually. People that weigh themselves every day, you drive yourself crazy. Especially when you get farther out from surgery, it's slower, and then you're bouncing between pounds. Just, so don't do that to yourself. It's painful. But I don't. When people ask me that, I don't say you're going to lose this much, because it's different with everybody. And so it's a tool, a sleeve, bypass. They're all tools, and so it depends on how hard you want to work with that tool. So that tool is going to help you, and it depends on how hard you want to exercise and how hard you want to stay to your diet of 3 meals, good protein, eating as little as you can to be satisfied, not as much as you can to be full. 3 meals a day. Then you're going to lose. And what do we normally say? We like to get people down towards a BMI of 30. But that's not to say that you can't get down to a 26 or 25. I see that all the time.
I mean, I just feel like,
Yeah.
I doing it right?
Did you come to the pre-op class and get a notebook, a resource notebook?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, you are welcome to make an appointment with Laura or me, and we can go through, what you may be doing and have to give you some pointers too.
Yeah.
That's why we are here to be somebody to help follow
Yeah.
up with. We want to be here through the whole journey for you, and if you don't feel like you're getting where you need to be, let us know, and we'll be happy to.
And you see us, you see me, I point you to Laura. I mean, I send people to her, she sends people to me, medical, dietitian,
Well, I
Chris.
just didn't know if like pounds just drop or if it's just in a certain
a certain time frame.
Yeah.
So with a sleeve, 18 to 24 months, you can expect weight loss with a sleeve. With a gastric bypass, you can expect weight loss for about 12 months. Now, does that mean at 13 months you're done losing weight? No, but you can expect most of your weight loss in that first year with the gastric bypass, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, and that's 3 meals a day, protein, seeing how little you can eat to be satisfied, not how much you can eat to be full, and exercise. Now with the sleeve, it's going to be slower. It's going to be 18 to 24 months, so you're going to lose slower over a longer period of time. And so that's kind of the gauge that we use. And so you're going to lose most of your weight at first, and then it's going to slow down. And that's why I tell people stop weighing in every day and just weigh in once a week or weigh in every couple weeks. Because once you get 6 months and 7 months and 8 months, you're going to slow way down. And you're going to hit valleys, and those valleys are really annoying. And you might even go up by a couple pounds and down a couple, And so when you hit those valleys, that's the time where you get your mind, okay, so am I doing the right thing? Am I eating 3 meals a day? Or am I skipping breakfast? If I'm skipping breakfast, I'm not doing what is needed for my diet or for my weight loss. You have to eat to lose weight. You have to eat 3 meals a day. If you wake up, you don't eat till noon, you're in starvation mode till noon, and you hold on to fat. So that's okay. I'm not eating breakfast. I need to get on with that. Okay. Am I eating the right stuff? Am I getting protein in? Am I seeing 3 to 4 ounces of a good protein, lean protein? And it's not like you're never going to have a dessert again, but are you decreasing those or not doing stuff like that? And then exercise. And as the weather gets nicer, it'll be a lot easier to get outside and move. So I don't like to say you're going to lose this much, but I normally say it's over this amount of time, and it's how hard you want to work at it. And everybody's body is different. Because I see a ton of people and everybody loses at a different rate. And it also matters what you start at. If you start at 500, you're going to lose a lot more at your 2-month visit than somebody that's 250. You're just going to lose a lot more. So it's the bigger you are, the faster you're going to lose it at first. So you just kind of take all those things into account. But you're not going to ruin anything at the beginning. You're just not. If you're less than a couple years out, you're not ruining anything, but you're losing slow, and that's when I would talk to Laura or talk to me.
Like they were talking about worrying about it stretching. Like I'm still kind of learning where that.
Yeah, you're still learning what that point of satisfaction is.
Stretch it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes a long time.
To learn it takes a long time. Yeah.
A year out.
Yeah. Oh, I can't.
Yeah.
And don't judge your success by a number.
No.
Your success is every 10% of your weight that you lose, you are healthier and you are adding years to your life.
Yeah. My
Don't
diabetes.
use a number as your goal.
Use all those other
getting
things.
off
I feel
this
great.
medication or being able to move without
I
medication.
feel great.
Things
Yeah.
like that.
Exactly. Exactly. Go ahead.
Actually, I have 2 questions.
Sure.
And I have my 2-month appointment here at the end of this month, so I
Okay.
was gonna ask that, but I'm gonna ask it now.
Okay.
I
So you're
have-
at less than 2 months. When was yours again? Sorry.
14th of January.
Okay. Okay.
I have arthritis.
Okay.
And I was taking glucosamine beforehand.
Okay.
As well as a whatever it is.
Mhm.
And I'm not taking that now.
Mhm.
Is the glucosamine something that I will eventually be able to add back?
Oh, that's
in?
fine. Glucosamine, that's just a vitamin. Glucosamine.
It's the size of it.
Is it a horse pill?
I took it. I took it before too, and I couldn't take it.
Because you couldn't get it down.
I can get mine a big pill, but, you can be broken up.
Okay. It's not gonna hurt. Oh, it really? They got a liquid glucosamine.
Okay.
Glucosamine's fine. It's just a, yeah.
Then the second one I had was
I was gonna look
I've
at
been
it.
seeing on TV these Atkins, meals and
Shakes,
snacks and
Atkins
stuff like
shakes.
that.
Somebody
Is
just
that
asked me about
something
that
that we
today.
can do?
Atkins meals,
Is that
Atkins
good
shakes.
for us?
That's a question for Laura.
Carbohydrates too,
Are
for
they?
what I want.
They're more than?
Yeah, they're more than 7, correct?
So what about the
They're-
Atkins
they're
shakes?
about
Somebody
10,
asked me
12.
about that today.
Premier
Are they high in
protein.
calorie? And
Premier from Sam's Club. Or Costco. Or Costco.
what about the Walmart one? A lot of people ask me about the
Pure
Walmart.
protein at Walmart. And Ensure also makes
say?
They've got like.
Well,
bars and stuff.
ensure, you know, what's ensuring booths, they're actually meant for people to gain weight, you know? If I go to a nursing home, that's what they need for.
The high protein shake one is, because they have a separate high protein one.
But it's still high in carbohydrates.
It's still very high.
It's still high in carbohydrates.
What is the carbohydrate limit that you want?
Anything from 4 to 7 grams in a serving is a good product, and about 20 grams of protein. To make sure that if you're replacing a meal, you're at least having 20 grams, which is about 3 ounces worth in protein in that meal.
What about a Quest bar? Addicted, please say that they're good.
Quest bar.
Oh, I eat them all the
Yeah.
time.
I just need to look at the.
It's like 20 grams of protein. The sugar after you subtract the.
No, don't subtract.
Okay. After you take out all the bad stuff. Whatever the carbs, the net carbs, that's whatever, there's some calculation.
That's because of the fiber. How much is the total net?
It's 3, 2, some of them are, it's really little, but you think it's wrong because it's so little.
That's sugar, but you need to look at the total carbohydrates.
I don't know.
And it has to do.
They're like 20 grams, they have like 17 grams of fiber. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
But you have to.
The truth comes out. Very wonderful all the time.
So this is a little input from this. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take the bar. Remember that the front is all marketing. They want you to buy it, right? So you need to look at it in the eyes with the company who wants you to buy it. So the net carb has to do with the amount of fiber. And the amount of fiber is because it's delaying the rate at which you're gonna be absorbing your carbohydrates. But they're still carbohydrates. It's a way for you to say, oh, it's less carbs, but fiber is great, but all you gotta pay attention is the total carbohydrates is 25 grams. Now, this total protein is at 30 grams. So the protein to carbohydrate ratio is a thumbs up? Yes. It's a thumbs up because it's 30 grams of protein and only 25 grams of carbohydrates. So we're matching a 1-to-1 ratio. So I would recommend a product like this.
Oh, they are so good.
This is the premier. This is the premier.
And how many servings do you eat?
One?
Oh, one. One for the whole bar. But I mean, they're like huge. I mean, they're huge for and that's one serving.
So this is one whole serving. This is 8 grams of fat. So when we talk in our 1-to-1s, you know that for weight loss, I want anything more than about 30 grams. If you're really doing really good, you can keep up with 30 grams of fat intake to keep up with your low fat, right? This already has 8. So you need to count that, you know, out of 10 grams per meal, if you want to think that way, you already have everything. So this is an actual meal replacement.
Yeah.
If you start snacking on this and have half the bar mid-morning and half of this afternoon, and then you do very well with the breakfast and lunch and a dinner, guess what? Then you're going to get into stall weight because proteins are macronutrients. They provide calories. And if you have way too much, at the last month support group we talked about that, then you're going to stall weight. So it's just a point. It's a whole meal replacement. And you have to think that this is meant for when we go out and, you know, marathons, like what you're doing. So to keep something that is very high, that a full meal replaces this little bitty, but you gotta pay attention.
That's what I
That's how
carry
you
when
stay
I
with
play
it.
golf.
When you play golf.
Where did you get because I'll be on the golf course at lunchtime. And I either have this or a protein drink that's 30 grams.
Perfect, or
One or.
well, one or the other. You
Yeah.
see, that's the trick. One or the other. Okay, sorry.
Great. No, that's good. I learned that. That's why I
Can I
said
just
good
clarify,
work.
so, and I apologize if this is in the material that you gave us prior to surgery, but the ideal protein to carb ratio is 1-to-1, and the
It's the
ideal.
easiest way.
And how do you estimate kind of the ideal protein to fat, or you do not even call it
It
a ratio?
depends a lot on age. This is a real thumb for you guys because, and that has to do with protein bars because they can have about 20 grams of protein and it can have 30, 40 grams of carbohydrates, and you just have to read, and that gets really high when it goes to 40 grams of carbs and about 20 protein. So I really wanted at that 1:1 ratio to give you a rule of thumb. And overall, that will give you a rule of thumb when you go to, when it comes to eating, that you have that amount of the protein, because per weight, you're gonna see more protein in terms of ounces to get to the grams compared to carbohydrates, and I want that to be balanced. So it's a rule of thumb.
Right.
When you are more young, and we have younger teenage, that ratio is gonna vary, it's gonna be different. If you are in a 60 plus years, that ratio might vary also. And that also has to do with physical activity, marathons and things like that. So it's kind of a rule of thumb. I look into that more on a one-to-one basis in the counseling.
But can you give a rule of thumb for fat grams?
About, so 40, 40, 20. So same amount protein and fat and about 20% in fat.
I'm
So
sorry,
40,
I
40,
don't
20.
understand. Can you say that again?
40% carbohydrate,
Okay.
40% protein, 20% fat.
Gotcha, thank you.
40,
Okay,
40,
so kind of a 2 to 1, okay.
Exactly. There you
Great,
go.
awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I have a question to go back on the, Mucinex
Uh-huh.
and the size of the opening of the
Okay.
gastric bypass back in May.
Okay.
I take a lot of other pills, but
Okay.
they don't quite seem to be as big as that, I can't remember.
Glucosamine? Or-
No,
oh.
no, Mucinex.
Mucinex,
D.
okay.
Yeah, Mucinex
Okay.
D is like what,
You-
you know,
okay.
oh, when I have a head cold.
Yeah, decongestant, yeah.
But I am really skeptical of putting it in there, so I haven't. Can you tell me?
One of the things that's helped me, because I have to take a pill that's pretty big, and I make sure that it's on my tongue.
Head and south.
Yeah, I make sure it's not sideways, sure, my tongue when it goes down, I don't know, it's just something I try to be mindful of when I
Right.
swallow it, I just make sure it's going that direction
Mhm.
and not the other direction.
I've gotten a little caught that other
Yeah.
direction, especially when they're dry pills like that, where the capsules slide right down, but my question is, am I gonna get in trouble by putting one of those in there and getting it stuck?
Getting it stuck.
At the opening to the stomach,
Yeah.
the pouch?
It'll dissolve, I mean, it's gonna be painful, so warm liquids if that happens, and I always tell people that if they call me on call and say, I've got a piece of food stuff or something like that, warmed liquids usually get to move down a little bit quicker.
Perfect.
I wouldn't, really the opening to the pouch and the sleeve, we don't really alter that a ton. I worry about that more with a band than I do bypassing sleeve, because the band would really make that opening tight.
First out of surgery, there was a, you know, like.
Oh
a
yeah,
caution.
first out of surgery because you're
Because
swelling, and
everything's
that's what I was talking about earlier, especially with a sleeve,
Okay.
even more tight with a sleeve.
Oh, good, that's
But
good.
eventually, as the swelling goes down, the sleeve opening is the same size it was before. We absolutely do not change the opening size.
But I want to.
Sleeve, but you're a bypass, and it can be a little bit smaller, but usually not the case.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, usually not the case.
I'll use that warm water.
Awesome. I think you were first, and then I'll back to you.
How soon after I have the gastric sleeve, when I get home, can I climb stairs?
So activity increase, I tell people to do it slowly, and when is your, you haven't had surgery?
Yeah, I haven't had it yet, I just got scheduled 2 hours ago.
Oh, great.
March 31st.
Awesome, big day,
That's
big
why I
day,
have a lot
that's
of
great.
questions.
That's
So,
great, that's fine, I'll answer them all.
So
stairs after.
Because my shower is upstairs.
Mhm. So your belly is gonna feel like you did a ton of crunches, and these people can vouch for it way more than I, because I haven't, but it's gonna feel like you did a million crunches, your left side's gonna hurt. I tell people when I discharge them the next morning, the most common phone call I get on call is, my left side hurts, why doesn't anything else hurt? So, and I can explain that when, if you want me to, or I can explain it when you discharge, but anyway. But anyway, I tell people to advance their activity, because I want you to move, and you're gonna find that when you're over in the unit across the hall the morning after, it feels a lot better to get up and move than it is to lay in bed. Because you get stiff, and you can't expand your lungs and all that stuff. So get up and move is great. Stairs, anything that you're really having to use your tummy muscles to get up is what's gonna hurt. I tell people to, go back into your exercise, making sure that whatever you're doing doesn't hurt. If it hurts really bad when you're doing it, then I would back off that a little bit. Now, should you be able to go upstairs after? Yes.
So even like the day I get home or?
You should be able to. You're gonna have to take it slow.
You know, when I was in the hospital, they had me take the stairs.
Take the stairs
before they let
to
me
see.
leave the hospital,
Yeah.
Because my house is a triple split entry, so there's stairs everywhere.
fine, and you could do that. PT across the hall has a little stair step right outside Chris's office that you could try to walk up that if you want to, right across if your morning after. If you say, I want to walk up a couple steps, then do that.
And
But I think you'll be fine.
Should I start, the vitamins and the calcium supplements when I start the 2-week diet?
2-week diet. It's not going to hurt you.
30
However,
days.
what'd you say? What do you
30
say?
days.
30 days. Okay.
So
Yeah.
start now.
Sure.
Okay.
I'd tell you, I mean, if you haven't started it, I tell people, if you haven't started it on the morning after surgery when I see you, I tell you to start it in day 3 or day 4 after surgery. But if you started before, that's great.
And how much time do people usually take off work?
It varies. Everybody's healing is a ton different. I mean, I saw people today in 1 week follow-up that didn't use a lick of pain medicine after their surgery, not 1 dose, and there's people that I have to call in 3 or 4 refills. It doesn't affect how you're doing. It just has to do with how well you heal after surgery. And we are okay to do 4 to 6 weeks, but usually by week 1, when you come back in and see me or Tim, usually people are doing fairly well. And if you do 1 more week after that at home, you're usually pretty good. A couple weeks.
I took more.
Yeah, your fatigue is going to be, and that's the older you are, the fatigue is going to be longer, just because of going through surgery and anesthesia. So, but yeah, it depends on what job you're doing as well. If you're getting up and down from the desk, hygienist, dental hygienist, okay. Yeah, if you're bending over like this a lot, your tummy's going to hurt. If you're coming down and up like this, it's like you're doing crunches, it's going to hurt.
Okay.
So, not that you can't do it, and like I said, I mean, I saw people today that doesn't even look like we did surgery a week ago. So, it just kind of depends on how well you do. And we'll take it 1 step at a time after surgery. I want to go back in 2 weeks. You call Heather, who takes care of all that stuff in our office. I want to wait 1 more week. Sure. I mean, we'll send in whatever paperwork you need.
Justin, it's been 45 minutes, so, if there's one more question, you can take that, and then we want to be able to get into our groups and have some conversations, so
Sure.
I don't want you to have to stay too
Or
late.
I'll do as long as you want me to do, but I don't want to take up the other stuff, so
Just
go ahead.
one really
Sure.
quick question, we were talking about pills and stuff. Many of them make capsules versus tablets. Any preference?
Yeah, they dissolve a lot quicker, and that'll be the medicine that we put you on, Prilosec or omeprazole after surgery as a capsule, and that dissolves fairly quickly. And also, you can open it up and put it on something. Are you pre-surgery or?
No, my husband, I'm here for my husband.
Oh, okay.
After surgery.
Yeah, so capsules are better than pills because they dissolve quickly, and they slide down easier too. They're real slippery.
You take a little teaspoonful of, applesauce with your pill. I mean, that
With it
will-
broken up? Is that what you did, or you just?
No, I didn't break them up, I just, in
Just laid it on a
general,
little bit of
get your pill
applesauce and
down,
just slid
just
right
to
down?
have some, a little bit of solid that's gonna slide it down, and then I'm not, because I would tighten up with liquids.
Yeah.
Without even meaning to.
You kind of spasm yourself,
Yeah,
thinking,
it's like,
oh,
oh
it's
my
gonna
God,
get
I'm
stuck.
drinking something, oh my
You know,
God,
yeah.
but a little spoon of applesauce with the pill,
That's
and it made it just a lot easier.
That's great. Did you have one other?
I did.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
yeah. Oh, I'm not.
Mine's kind of a two-parter, and I really apologize. So I got approval from Tim and Helen. I have to
Okay.
take the Prilosec every day, except to take a baby aspirin every day. due to
Okay,
a stroke.
perfect.
So I figured I'd rather not have a stroke than an old stroke.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
that's the way I
Yes,
opposite.
yes.
But I get migraines every now and then. And you said earlier that NSAIDs are not completely off the table,
Correct.
obviously, because I take
What's
the
your surgery history?
sleeves
Sleeve.
about 14 months ago.
Okay.
And what's you call it? The Exceder migraine
Mhm.
used to be, that used to be
Gold.
perfect
Yeah.
when I found that. If
Uh-huh.
I took that every now and then,
Perfect.
would that be okay?
Are you gonna be on omeprazole? and
Yes, I'll
Prilosec?
do it for the rest of my life.
Okay.
I take the baby
Twice a
aspirin.
day or once a day?
I take it once a day
Okay.
now, but would I need to take it
Nah.
twice the day that I have to take the
Nah,
Exceder
because you
migraine?
can't use Prilosec just on an as needed. It doesn't work that way.
Oh, okay. just-
So Prilosec, if you're taking Prilosec just when you have heartburn, that's not really working. It's just you telling yourself it's working. So take a H2 blocker like ranitidine or Zantac, or Tums or something like that, because
Oh, okay.
that's going to take care of your immediate heartburn. Prilosec isn't doing anything if you take it. I take it just once a week. I mean, not doing anything.
The second
Oh, sure, go ahead.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. So,
Yeah.
sometimes after the surgery, I stopped caffeine completely, and then I started back up again. Now, does coffee gonna hurt my stomach? 'Cause
And I have
do
had
at
this
least 2 a
conversation
day.
with Dr. Hamilton too. Caffeine doesn't do anything as far as ulcers or hurting anything or anything like that. And I asked him, why do we always tell people no caffeine? And probably Laura can explain better than me, but we say no caffeine because it's a hunger stimulant. It makes you more hungry, and that's the way we say it. So I don't know what
Coffee
you.
in general? Coffee,
So-
even the acidity of coffee is
Yeah.
gonna hurt my stomach?
Nope.
Okay, good, I'm going back.
So what do you say? That's what Hamilton and
I should wait till
that's
you
what
talk
Hamilton and I
first.
said. Because I asked him, I'm like, why do we tell people no? Because I filled in for Laura when she was on maternity leave. So I learned a ton. I'm not a dietitian at all.
Tannins, the tannins in
But yeah.
coffee causes. Yeah.
The what?
The tannins. Tannins. T-A-N-N-I-N-S. Tannins.
Tannins,
Oh, it's
okay.
acid?
Huh.
It's acid?
Yeah.
It's like an acid producer.
It's,
Okay.
yeah, coffee.
Yeah.
So it'll
So is any coffee bad? Like,
decaf.
What do the tannins do?
For the low acid.
And it still has some, but
but
you're
decaf?
safer. You know, and to me, you know, if, this is my analogy at times when I discuss this, you know, if anything is has a remote risk for you to be causing an ulcer, my best analogy is a friend of mine. She decided to donate a kidney, and she's like maybe 27, and she decided to donate it to a friend. Now, my friend from KC, she was a big Diet Coke. I mean, Diet Coke everywhere since ever. I mean, Diet Coke towel, Diet Coke lamb.
Oh my gosh.
When she came back, her friend is from Texas. She came back to Kansas City, and I'm seeing her water bottle, and you know, of course, observation. You know, it's like, what's going on? It's a Diet Coke. Here's one. You know, do you need one? Here you go. You know, and she said, no. You know, before I have 2 kidneys. Right now, what I have is 1. You know, I need to take care of what I have, and I'm only 27, Laura. You know, there's a long ways to go. And it's just a mindset of, you know, if there's anything that can remotely increases your chances to develop an ulcer on something that is like this, you know, you might want to rethink.
Yeah.
That's my
Ulcers
point.
are miserable.
And it tannins do, you know, it's containing coffee, it's there, and
And
you
it
know,
also-
and that there's a genetic predisposition too. You know, you don't know
What
how.
about tea?
Decaf tea
Decaf
or
tea.
herbal?
Has some 300 milligrams of caffeine, more or less.
And like Dr. Sabapathy tells people too, is if you're addicted to Diet Coke, then you have tendencies to be addicted to food and addicted to other stuff. You get off these addictions and stuff, and caffeine, and then you have a tendency to help your other addictions with food if you have it, or yada yada, smoking.
Or you just transfer to
About the
shopping.
decaf.
Shopping.
Yes.
Shopping.
What about the decaf?
You said decaf's fun, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Even for coffee decaf is okay? It doesn't have acidities or tinted whatever?
Very minimum amount. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Much lower.
Yeah. Do you have are you on omeprazole or Prilosec?
Neither.
Yeah, it'd be more.
Like 2 weeks out.
What's that?
Not since 2 weeks out.
Says 2. Okay, you just did it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, it depends on how often you're going to use it. If you're going to use it once a month, it's probably not going to do anything. It also doesn't hurt to take a once-a-day Prilosec long term. I mean, the biggest long-term things that you need to watch out for with a proton pump inhibitor would be early osteoporosis. And that's something you can do as you get older, bone density scans and stuff. And that's if somebody's on Prilosec for 50 years or 40 years or something. So that'd be something to make sure that your PCP knows, or your primary care doctor. So as you get older, they'll want to check stuff like that, because that's the biggest adverse kind of side effect with taking long-term PPIs.
I have headaches every day.
Okay.
Every day I have a headache, but every once in a while I have a migraine, and I know the difference of it. But I don't have an aura, so I don't know when they're coming.
When they're
I
coming,
can't
yeah.
take those silly medicines that, you know, prevent them.
Yeah, like a preventative,
It
triptans and
it's
stuff like
there.
that.
But Southern migraine
Yeah.
is the all.
So I would put yourself on an omeprazole once a day, and just be on that long term. And for the once a week or every 2 week Excedrin migraine, that's not going to hurt anything. As as long as you haven't had ulcers in the past, which I'd wanna know about that.
I had GERD before, but.
With that,
I had
GERD before,
but no-
Yeah, and if you ever develop reflux or anything that you didn't have before, then we'd wanna know about that, stop it immediately. We'd put you on other medicine. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
What would happen if we got an ulcer? I mean, if our stomach's so small, I mean, are we
Yeah.
on a bean tube? I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I just worry. Going along, I was on Nexium before my surgery. I had MMY 10 months ago. And so I was on Nexium for GERD. And after my surgery, I didn't have heartburn. So I stopped taking it without talking to my doctor. And my stomach started hurting probably 4 or 5 months out. And it was really, really hurting for a couple of weeks. And I finally went back to my doctor, and he did an EGD the next day. And I already had an ulcer that was almost all the way through my stomach because I had stopped taking, but I didn't have heartburn. You know, so anyway, I did have an ulcer that quickly.
Yeah.
And so I'm on Prevsed and Prilosec once a day. I take each of them, he said, for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Did you treat it with Carafate or Sucralfate, or how'd you treat your ulcer?
What was the first one you said?
Carafate?
Yes.
Yeah, 4 times a day, liquid?
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, for, I think it was a couple weeks, it was.
Yeah, normally we do it for a month.
Okay,
So,
yeah, it was quite a while.
Yeah.
So
that's the
medicine
treatment.
to get rid of it.
So
I mean,
there's a medicine, but it's
not
hard.
like a surgery
It's not
where
a-
you remove it or.
Can.
anything like that.
Sometimes it's bad enough where you have to go in and kind of cut the ulcer, but that's rare. That's on a rarity. So
Rare things happen to me,
rare.
so.
So you don't want to develop. It's way you're at more risk to get an ulcer than you are osteoporosis from a proton pump inhibitor. So don't worry about that. You can get a bone density scan if you're worried about that. I think of UBI. So. Yeah.
I also heard from my urologist that kidney stones are a lot more likely with bariatric surgery.
The only reason I can think about that is, the only thing I can come up with the reason is because your hydration is less. Kidney stones are most common because you're dehydrated.
And they're also proteinized calcium.
Yeah, they're calcium
and
stones.
And calcium supplements following surgery. So
I would say it's way more as a result of dehydration than you're taking too much calcium.
About
So.
2 months after surgery, I had 2. One of them passed a year ago. One's still there.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
had 7 procedures from October through the end of December to try and get rid of them.
That was before your surgery, after?
Yeah.
Before, okay. Yeah, so I'd say so I'd make sure you're drinking your water. And that's hydration with water.
My urologist said too much every day. Protein-based kidney stones, is that true?
I've never seen that. Do you know anything about that, Laura? I don't know.
Too much protein.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely your kidneys are going to work much more, and that along with dehydration and enough water to get rid of the urea, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to break down, and most of that protein actually is going to, if you don't use it, actually goes to your liver. That's the other thing we learned from last month. Goes to your liver, it's breaking down that nitrogen, that urea is going to your kidney. The more you do, but not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Anybody else? Yeah.
How long postpartum do you recommend waiting until the sleep?
Postpartum. Are you breastfeeding or would you be? Okay. I wouldn't say that you need to wait any sort of amount of time. Yeah, I'm trying to think what Dr. Hamilton would say if I asked him. Yeah, I don't know that exactly. That's something I could ask him, but he's.
How would you breastfeed?
We've had a person that was. Yeah, we'd have a person that was 2 months post-op gastric bypass, and she got pregnant, and he was like, oh, great, okay. So,
Make an appointment with me.
yeah, the first thing somebody tells me is I'm pregnant, I go, okay, I'll get you right over to Laura. Because she's got to change your vitamin regimen for stuff like that. So.
Get pregnant after the surgery. She's asking.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're saying, oh, so when can you have surgery after? Oh. No, yeah, sorry, I knew you asked that and then I went off. It doesn't matter.
She's got to let you know.
Yeah, you're gonna be on a liquid protein diet.
Take care of that. And you're like, recovering.
Man, yeah, you're gonna, yeah.
I would like 6 months.
So hold on, you're pregnant right now?
Yeah.
And you're going into surgery?
I was going to, but I didn't get very far in the program because I didn't want to wait for 2 years afterwards. So we're doing this first, and then I was going to do the surgery afterwards. So I just wanted to know how long.
I have actually one patient, we have that she actually scheduled, she had her baby, right? And then about a month or two, maybe, she was scheduled for surgery. I don't think it was very much farther after she was
And she did fine?
baby.
So was she
I
breastfeeding
have-
though?
Yeah.
Because with
And she was
breastfeeding,
planning on breastfeeding.
you have to have so many calories in order to make a certain amount of milk.
So, you know, it's possible. And, but it's your nutrition, yeah. You're dehydrated and, you know, you're having deficiencies, the baby will have deficiencies because most of what you're getting, the baby's gonna receive. Definitely, you need to be supplemented and the infant needs to be supplemented. To make sure there's no, especially vitamin D. Because you're deficient, he will be deficient or she will be deficient.
I'm hearing a couple different people raise the concern of if you're breastfeeding and your intake is so little after surgery or, you know, for the rest of your life, are you gonna have enough to help me out?
There's-
Are you gonna be able to produce the milk?
There's two, yeah, you will be.
Okay.
Yeah, because your breast milk production has to do with two hormones, prolactin and oxytocin. Your prolactin and oxytocin is gonna be increased with the baby being fed, you know, so it's a demand production thing. The more the baby demands and it's nursing, the more you're gonna produce. That's one thing. Second thing, severe calorie deficit can lead to decrease in breast milk production, but before that happens, I'm here for you. Second, you get enough calories through diet because your macronutrients are very easy to get in. Your micro ones, your vitamins and minerals, supplementation, your vitamins. So we keep macronutrients in, we keep you with a good meal plan, and you get your vitamins, and you have your baby nurse you. They're, you know, either pumping or breastfeed your baby. You'll be fine. Okay? Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you, Dustin.
Sorry, one more. Sorry, one more. One more?
Okay.
My phone, we briefly talked about the abdominoplasty.
Uh-huh.
You guys still did the brachioplasty as well?
No, we do not.
Which one's that? Oh, so do you just do tummy? Oh, nice.
Just tummy. Just tummy.
You don't do like the whole.
I didn't hear the question.
Just tummy. What's that?
What was the question?
Or do we do
Plastic surgery.
plastic surgery of the arms? We just do plastic surgery of the tummy. Uh-huh. And we only do it for cash pay. We don't do it for insurance. So we won't go into all of taking pictures and proving that there's a medical need for it, yada, yada, yada. So,
But it's about like 5,500. I mean, it's not like the.
yeah, it's 5,000, something like that. So, yep. And that includes everything from the doctor to the surgery center, all that stuff.
How come you do not do the arms?
I think that's a huge deal. And these, yeah.
Is there a lot of blood vessels in there?
Yeah, and you can ask the doctors their reason, but it takes a lot more to do the arms than the tummy.
How would you recommend your weight after?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I make sure that you are maximize your weight loss for several months. And so with a sleeve, I definitely wait past your 2 years, and probably with a bypass too.
Dr. Cusick will be coming to speak.
Because-
2 years?
Who is?
Dr. Cusick comes.
Oh,
once
Cusick,
a year
okay, yeah.
And talks,
That's
he's a plastic surgeon, and he's got a lot of experience
Yeah.
with our patients, and,
Yeah, but our doctors will say, make sure you maximize your weight loss first, because if you lose after, then there's more skin. So.
It's like a slower because, you know, at this point, it's like.
Snail slow.
You know?
Yeah, maximize it first. So. All right. Well, thank you for having me. Just before I go, if you haven't had surgery, congratulations on being here and being through the program. This is going to be the best thing you've ever done for yourself. And before I went into this, I had no idea what bariatrics was, and I had bias of it, and I said, just lose weight on your own, and why would you ever go through surgery? So my mindset has completely changed. I love it, and I love being here. And so these doctors love what they're doing. They're awesome at it. They're the best in the country, and I'm not just biased because I work with them, but they're the best. And so you're at the you're at the best place.
Not
So,
just the doctors,
the whole staff. From the minute, yeah, you're gonna have the best experience post-operatively, and so we work to do success.
I talked to her, I got one question.
Uh-huh.
I'm coming in next month for my 1 year, and they've changed the way you do your blood.
Yeah, in our office.
Yeah.
So you will get, and if anybody is set for a follow-up or anything like that, blood work is all done in our office now. So if Tim and I handed you those sheets, as of this last Monday, we have our own lab. So we do our own draws in the office. We have our own facility that has our own equipment and our own staff that runs it, and yada yada. So if we hand you those sheets, just get rid of them and come the day of your appointment, and you'll just get blood drawn the day of your appointment every time.
How long do you have to
Fasting, okay? So Dr. Hohen and Tim do afternoon clinics both days. And so I call, and Dr. Hamilton and we have one afternoon and one morning. So the morning, great, just don't eat before you come. The afternoon clinics are a little bit tricky, and we've trained staff on what to tell people, and if you get an email on your follow-up appointment reminder, it'll tell you. And I called the main hospital lab. The best would be to fast to get an accurate lipid. But the minimum amount of time that we want to see is 6 hours. So if you have a real late appointment, like 3 or 4, and you eat breakfast 7 or 8, and then wait till then, you're going to be fine. But the idea is to come in completely fasting. But 6 hours is what the lab tells me at Shawnee Mission, Maine. That's the best way to get accurate glucose and.
You got a 2:30 appointment.
Yeah, so eat real early and then don't.
Okay, like with my insurance, if I use like Quest or LabCorp, it's free. Can I still use the sheet?
Yeah, you can. We like to still do it in our office though, and so I don't know if you, and in these circumstances, we're working all that out. If you have a copay for it, we'll match the same copay. If you don't have anything, then I can't really argue with you and say, you need to do it here.
Yeah, mine's the same way, it's free, I have to go to the lab.
Yeah, exactly.
So in those instances, we're still working out all the details. So if you
Okay,
come in with
just
lab work,
check.
if you come in with lab work already drawn, then I'm not gonna say go. But don't go to Shawnee Mission downstairs, don't go to your primary care, just come to us and we'll do your lab work.
I live pretty far in the west, so.
And we just do it the day of, yeah.
So I'm still gonna, I still see my primary. My A1C.
And we can send labs to your primary too.
Okay.
We'll send a copy to you. So we prefer to do it in our office.
Okay.
Okay? All right, thank you guys. All right.